Most men think prostate cancer means surgery right away. But the truth, some men never need a scalpel and others need treatment yesterday. Here's what most don't realize: prostate cancer isn't just one disease. For some, it's so slow you might live decades without it ever becoming a problem. For others, it's aggressive, silent, and can spread before you notice the first symptom. The difference isn't guesswork, it comes down to knowing your stage, your risk factors, and asking the right questions. And when you know that, you can avoid unnecessary treatment or catch aggressive cancer before it's too late. That's why in the next few minutes, I'll break down the real treatment options every man should understand, so you'll know exactly where you stand and what choices are truly best for your health and your life. Hi, I'm Dr. Jen Gunter, a urologist with over 20 years of experience helping men over 60 face prostate cancer with clarity and confidence. I've seen hundreds of patients walk in thinking it was just old age, waking up at night, feeling tired, ignoring small symptoms. But when we look deeper, it was prostate cancer. And here's the most important part. The right treatment didn't just fight the cancer, it gave them back years of health, energy, and peace of mind. If you've ever wondered whether you, your brother, or your father might be at risk, stay with me. Over the next few minutes, I'll break down the real options, from doing nothing at all to surgery to advanced therapies, so you'll finally understand what's right for you or someone you love. Prostate cancer isn't just one disease, it's a spectrum. For some men, it grows so slowly you may never notice it in your lifetime. These men can often live decades with no symptoms, no pain, and no urgent need for aggressive treatment. For others, prostate cancer is silent but fast-moving. It can spread beyond the prostate before you even feel a warning sign. And that's why treatment isn't about one-size-fits-all surgery. It's about matching the right option to your stage, your lifestyle, and your goals. The truth is, there's no universal best treatment. What works for a 62-year-old man with a tiny, low-risk tumor may be completely different from what's needed for a 58-year-old whose cancer is already threatening to spread. Think of it this way: treating prostate cancer is like navigating a map. Some men only need regular check-ins, almost like watching the road signs without changing direction. Others need to take a sharp turn immediately: surgery, radiation, or advanced therapies to avoid danger ahead. And many men fall somewhere in between, combining approaches over time. The key is not guessing, not panicking, and not assuming. It's about understanding where you are on the spectrum and then choosing a path that preserves not just your life, but also your quality of life, your energy, your dignity, and your independence. Let's start with the option that surprises a lot of men: active surveillance. Now, when most people hear the words "you have cancer," the very next thought is get it out, cut it, burn it, treat it immediately. That reaction is completely human. Fear pushes us toward action. But prostate cancer doesn't always play by the same rules as other cancers. In fact, for a significant number of men, the safest and healthiest choice is to simply watch it closely without rushing into treatment. So what does that actually look like? Active surveillance means you're not ignoring the cancer. Far from it. You're keeping it under a microscope with regular PSA blood tests, imaging like MRI, and sometimes repeat biopsies. Think of it like putting a security camera on the situation. You're checking in every few months, making sure nothing is changing, and if it does, you act. Why is this approach so valuable? Because many prostate cancers grow incredibly slowly. They're what doctors sometimes call indolent. That means they may sit quietly for years, even decades, without ever threatening your health or shortening your life. If you rush into surgery or radiation for one of these tiny, low-risk cancers, you may end up dealing with lifelong side effects, things like incontinence or erectile dysfunction, for cancer that never would have harmed you in the first place. In other words, the treatment could cause more problems than the cancer itself. Let me give you a real example. Tom, a 62-year-old patient, came to me after a routine PSA test showed something unusual. Further testing revealed a very small, low-risk tumor in his prostate. Naturally, he and his family were terrified. They expected me to recommend surgery right away. Instead, I walked them through the science. His tumor was so small and so unlikely to grow quickly that immediate treatment wasn't necessary. Together, we chose active surveillance. That was 5 years ago. Today, Tom is still doing great. He comes in for his regular checkups, we keep an eye on his PSA levels, and he gets an MRI once in a while. His tumor hasn't grown, he hasn't had to go through surgery or radiation, and he's enjoying life, golfing, traveling with his wife, and playing with his grandkids. For him, surveillance hasn't just avoided unnecessary treatment, it's preserved his quality of life. But let me be clear, active surveillance doesn't mean doing nothing. It's not the same as wait and see or pretending the cancer isn't there. It's a structured medical plan with regular monitoring, and it only works if you and your doctor are committed to sticking with the schedule. If the cancer shows signs of growing or changing, we switch gears immediately. That's the safety net. The bottom line is this: for the right patients, active surveillance is a way of saying, I see you, cancer. I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not going to let you take more from me than you deserve. It's about patience, vigilance, and protecting your dignity by avoiding treatments you don't need. So if you or someone you love is facing a prostate cancer diagnosis, don't be shocked if your doctor suggests active surveillance. It doesn't mean giving up, it means being smart. It means trusting the science, respecting your body, and recognizing that sometimes the best treatment is to hold your ground until, and only until, action is truly necessary. Now let's talk about the option that most men expect to hear first: surgery. The medical term is radical prostatectomy, which means removing the entire prostate gland and sometimes nearby tissue to try and eliminate the cancer completely. For many men, just hearing the word surgery feels like the ultimate solution. If it's gone, it can't hurt me. And in a lot of cases, that's true. Surgery can be curative, especially when the cancer is caught early and hasn't spread beyond the prostate. Here's how it works in simple terms. During the operation, the prostate is removed. Today, many surgeries are done using minimally invasive techniques like robotic-assisted procedures. That means smaller incisions, faster recovery, and often less blood loss compared to the older, open surgeries. But make no mistake, it's still a major operation. And the decision to go forward shouldn't be taken lightly. So why choose surgery? For men with intermediate or high-risk prostate cancer, the kind that's more likely to grow or spread, surgery can be the best shot at cure. Removing the prostate can physically take the cancer out of the body before it has a chance to move elsewhere. It also provides valuable information once the gland is removed. Doctors can study it under a microscope to see exactly how aggressive the cancer was and whether it was starting to spread. But surgery isn't just about benefits, it comes with trade-offs. The prostate sits right next to nerves and muscles that control urination and sexual function. Even with the best surgical techniques, there can be side effects: urinary leakage, erectile dysfunction, and sometimes changes in ejaculation. These risks are real, and part of every honest conversation between doctor and patient. Let me share a story. Michael, 58, was diagnosed with prostate cancer that looked aggressive under the biopsy. His PSA levels were climbing fast, and the imaging showed the cancer was still contained inside the prostate. He was in good health otherwise, and he wanted the peace of mind of getting it out. After weighing all the options, Michael chose surgery. The operation went smoothly. Recovery took a few weeks, and yes, there were challenges, temporary leakage, and difficulty with erections. But with physical therapy and medical support, he regained control of his bladder and much of his sexual function. Most importantly, follow-up tests showed no sign of cancer. Today, Michael is cancer-free and says the hardest part wasn't the surgery itself. It was the anxiety before making the decision. Once he had a plan, the fear eased. That's the thing about surgery. It can bring a deep sense of closure for the right patient. It's not the right move for every man, but for those with high-risk disease who are otherwise healthy and strong, it can offer both cure and peace of mind. So if you hear your doctor suggest surgery, don't just think of it as a scary, life-changing procedure. Think of it as one tool, sometimes the most powerful one, in the fight against prostate cancer. And remember, the goal isn't just to remove cancer, it's to protect your life, your future, and the moments that matter most to you. If surgery is about physically removing the prostate, radiation is about using invisible energy to target and kill cancer cells without making a single cut. Radiation therapy has come a long way in the last few decades. Years ago, it carried a reputation for being harsh and unpredictable. Today, thanks to advanced technology, radiation can be delivered with remarkable precision, aiming directly at the prostate while sparing as much of the surrounding healthy tissue as possible. So what does treatment look like? For most men, radiation happens in short sessions, usually 5 days a week over several weeks. Each visit only takes a few minutes. You lie on a table, the machine lines up, and high-energy beams are delivered into the prostate. There's no pain during the treatment, and when it's done, you get up and go home. Some men even keep working their regular jobs during therapy. Why do men choose radiation? For many, it offers a middle ground. It can be just as effective as surgery for localized prostate cancer, but without the need for anesthesia, hospital stays, or recovery from an operation. And for men who aren't good candidates for surgery, maybe because of age, heart disease, or other health issues, radiation becomes a powerful non-surgical option. Of course, radiation isn't without side effects. Because the prostate sits right next to the bladder and the rectum, those areas can sometimes get irritated. That can mean more frequent urination, looser stools, or fatigue during the weeks of treatment. But for most men, these issues are temporary and improve after the therapy ends. Long-term risks like erectile dysfunction or bowel changes are possible, but technology has greatly reduced how often they happen compared to the past. Let me tell you about James. At 70 years old, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer that was a little too aggressive to ignore, but he really didn't want surgery. His wife had just retired and they had big plans to travel. The idea of recovering from an operation with all its risks and downtime didn't sit right with him. Together, we discussed radiation therapy. James started treatment 3 months later. For 7 weeks, he went in every weekday morning for his session, then went about his day. There were some side effects: fatigue, a little irritation when urinating, and softer bowel movements. But with some adjustments to his diet and a lot of support from his care team, he managed well. When the treatment ended, his PSA dropped to undetectable levels. 2 years later, James and his wife sent me a postcard from Italy smiling in front of the Colosseum. He wrote, "Doc, I'm cancer-free and still traveling the world." That's the real promise of radiation. It gives men a way to fight prostate cancer head-on while preserving the rhythm of their lives. It's not the right choice for everyone, but for many, it's proof that effective treatment doesn't always require a scalpel. When faced with prostate cancer, some men choose to remove, others choose to radiate. The key is knowing that both paths can lead to the same destination: more time, more life, more memories. If surgery cuts the prostate out and radiation beams cancer away, hormone therapy takes a completely different approach. It doesn't attack the tumor directly. Instead, it starves the cancer of the very thing it needs to grow: testosterone. Here's the science in simple terms. Prostate cancer cells are fueled by male hormones, primarily testosterone. Think of testosterone like gasoline for a fire. The more fuel, the bigger the flames. Hormone therapy works by lowering or blocking testosterone in the body, taking away that fuel so the cancer slows down or even shrinks. This approach is often called androgen deprivation therapy, or AT. It can be given through injections, pills, or sometimes surgery to remove the testicles, though that option is rare today. The goal is the same: turn off the gasoline pump that feeds the cancer. Why does this matter? Hormone therapy is a powerful tool, especially when the cancer has spread beyond the prostate or when it's too risky for surgery or radiation alone. It can be used by itself or in combination with other treatments to buy time and control the disease. For many men, it turns what once felt like a death sentence into something manageable for years. But hormone therapy comes with trade-offs. Testosterone isn't just fuel for cancer. It's also part of what gives men their energy, sex drive, and muscle strength. Lowering it can lead to hot flashes, fatigue, weight gain, weaker bones, mood changes, or erectile dysfunction. For some, these side effects are tough. For others, they are manageable, especially when balanced against the benefit of slowing the cancer down. Let me share George's story. At 65, he came to me with prostate cancer that had already spread into nearby lymph nodes. Surgery wasn't an option, and radiation alone wouldn't be enough. Understandably, he was devastated. His first question was, "Doc, how much time do I have?" We started him on hormone therapy, monthly injections that lowered his testosterone. Within a few months, his PSA levels dropped dramatically. The cancer slowed, his scans showed stability, and most importantly, he began to hope again. Yes, George struggled with fatigue and some weight gain, but he adjusted his lifestyle, walking daily, eating better, and leaning on his family for support. 3 years later, he was still active, still laughing, still making memories with his grandchildren. Hormone therapy didn't cure him, but it gave him the most precious gift: more time and quality life. And that's the essence of hormone therapy. It's not a cure, but it's a way to keep the cancer in check, sometimes for many years. It buys time for newer treatments, clinical trials, and medical advances. It gives men the chance to keep living their lives, even while carrying a diagnosis they once thought was the end. So when you hear hormone therapy, don't think of it as weakness or settling. Think of it as a strategy, cutting off the fuel line to slow the cancer's fire, while you keep writing the chapters of your story. When prostate cancer spreads beyond the prostate and resists standard treatments, we turn to the frontier of medicine: advanced therapies. These include chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and targeted drugs. They may sound intimidating, and yes, they're powerful, but for many men they represent hope where hope once seemed lost. Chemotherapy is the option most people have heard of. It uses strong drugs that travel through the bloodstream to attack rapidly growing cells, including cancer. In prostate cancer, chemo is often used when the disease has spread widely or stopped responding to hormone therapy. The idea is simple. If cancer cells are multiplying out of control, chemo steps in to slow them down. Side effects like hair loss, nausea, or fatigue are possible, but today's medicines and support treatments make these challenges far more manageable than in the past. Immunotherapy takes a different path. Instead of directly killing cancer cells, it trains your body's own immune system to recognize and attack them. Think of it as showing your immune system a wanted poster of the cancer so it knows exactly what to fight. This field is still growing, but for certain men, it has already added years of life they never expected. Then there are targeted therapies and novel drugs. These are designed to pinpoint specific weaknesses in cancer cells. For example, some drugs block DNA repair mechanisms in cancer cells, causing them to collapse. Others are radioactive seeds that deliver radiation directly to cancer wherever it hides in the body. It's precision medicine, the opposite of one-size-fits-all. The power of these advanced therapies isn't just in the science, it's in what they mean for real people. Take David, 72. He was diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer that had already spread to his bones. Standard hormone therapy slowed things for a while, but eventually the cancer pushed forward again. 10 years ago, David would have run out of options, but today, he was able to join a clinical trial for a new immunotherapy drug. Within months, his scans showed fewer active tumors, his pain eased, and he began traveling again with his wife. 3 years later, he's still living, still laughing, still writing the story of his life. That's the miracle of modern medicine. These treatments aren't cures for everyone, but they are bridges to more time, to new possibilities, and to the next wave of discoveries that are already on the horizon. So when you hear chemo, immunotherapy, or targeted therapy, don't just think of scary hospital images or endless side effects. Think of them as powerful allies in the fight, options that didn't even exist for the generation before you. They represent progress, resilience, and the unwavering determination of science to give men not just more months, but more meaningful moments. For many men, advanced therapies are proof that even when cancer seems to have the upper hand, there is always another card to play. Tom chose to watch and wait, no surgery, no stress. And he's still golfing every weekend. Michael took the bold step of surgery, and today he's cancer-free, living without the shadow of uncertainty. George faced advanced disease, but hormone therapy gave him precious time to see his daughter graduate, a milestone he thought he might never reach. These are not just medical cases. They are fathers, husbands, brothers, and friends who each found a path that matched their life, their values, and their goals. And that's the point I want you to take away. There is no single right answer for prostate cancer. There's the answer that's right for you. Whether it's careful monitoring, surgery, radiation, hormone therapy, or advanced treatments, every option carries not just science, but also a story, your story. Choosing wisely isn't just about survival. It's about protecting your dignity, your independence, and the moments that make life worth living. So if you or someone you love is facing this diagnosis, remember, you're not powerless. You have option, you have a team, and you have the chance to shape the path forward one decision at a time. So here's the truth. Prostate cancer treatment is not about choosing the strongest option. It's about choosing the right one. From active surveillance to surgery, radiation, hormones, and advanced therapy, the path is unique for every man. These aren't just medical procedures. They're choices that protect your dignity, your independence, and your future. If this video gave you clarity, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a brother, a father, or a friend. You might change the course of their life. And if you want more guidance like this, subscribe and stay connected. Every week I share men's health insights that could help you or someone you love live longer, stronger, and with confidence.